So, is it 2 or 3 days ago, a Times journalist broke a story about Charles being a bully towards his gardening staff. So, this journalist was able to get in touch with some of these gardeners who've worked for Charles Highgrove for a while now, and they said pretty, some of the most shocking things. Like the internet was stunned; they were shocked. But to people who really know Charles, they know him as a bully, they know him as a racist. I mean, need I remind you, look at how he's treated his son, his own son, his daughter-in-law, his grandkids. Are we to believe that he's going to treat a commoner with an ounce of respect, with compassion, with empathy? Do you really think that man is capable of doing that? So of course, he was outed as a bully. And no, it's worse behind the scenes. I think like they were holding back, maybe because there's NDAs in place, so they cannot fully talk about everything or the experience working with Bully Charles. But I know it's way worse. This was just a tip of the iceberg. A tip of the iceberg. And the audacity of these leftover royals and these so-called royal experts, commentators, say that Meghan is a bully to the staff because she wrote emails at 4 a.m. When you have Charles out here telling a gardener to never be put in front of his face ever again because he got the name of a flower wrong. Imagine what he does behind the scenes. He threw a tantrum like on live television over a pen. So I know it's way worse. So all along, this man has been right in front of us as a bully, but they were projecting towards Meghan, using Meghan as an scapegoat. And shout out to, I've seen a lot of royal experts. The only media outlet, I can't believe I'm even about to say this, that reported on Charles being a bully was GB News. The other outlets were quiet. They were not talking. Of course, we know the messages were sent in the secret WhatsApp groups to not comment on that matter. But GB News had a segment, and I loved how the host was like, no, that is bad behavior. That is rude. This is not a good king. Why would you treat staff like that? That is really bad. So I've seen people applaud them for doing that, which, I mean, it's GB News, so it's really shocking to, at least they reported on that. And of course, people are still pissed with that. And now they're flooding social media with these negative articles towards Harry and Meghan so that they bury the story. They bury the fact that you have the leftover roles, you have Mumbles and Warwickshire off on their 6th vacation. You have Charles bullying, outed as a bully towards his gardening staff. So they want to bury that. How else do they do that? I mean, typical, the classic one. Let's come up with millions and millions of articles about Harry and Meghan, how the Queen hated Meghan, how Netflix is going to cancel their deal, or how... That's what they're doing right now. But I love how the public is now, you can see through their bullshit. They know you're trying to deflect from the fact that your king is a bully and your leftover royals are lazy and they are on their 6th vacation. So the journalist who broke that story came back to social media, and here's what he said. This Times journalist, hold on guys, let me get that part. And the audacity, you know how they always say sources? You always know it's the palace, like sources to the king. No, it's King Charles. It is King Charles. Don't even, it's Buckingham Palace. We're not stupid, you guys. So, Gabriel Pogrand is the journalist, the Times journalist who broke that story. And he said, the exclusive with Emily Prescott, don't put that man in front of me again. How the king's relentless demands and low pay led to an exodus of gardeners at his Highgrove estate and an internal inquiry. Plus, Charles' use of charity staff to manicure his home. So that is the story that he broke. That the internet was like, oh my God, what do you mean? And then now again, he made a follow-up, and here's what he said. Now, a source close to King Charles is trying to smear our sources. Remember, report found King's Gardens staff needed mental health support. They needed mental health support, guys. And then 11 out of 12 staff left. And then Palace accepts Her Royal Highness said of subordinate, don't put that man in front of me again. So he accepts that. And that charity staff used at private And so he accepts that the palace, Charles said, don't put that man in front of me again, and that charity staff used as private residence. So he's a part of what he say, a part of the Buckingham Palace. I think they were firing back or clapping back, if you want to call it that. So Buckingham Palace did not comment on the article, which the newspaper said is based on interviews with 8 sources who have worked as gardeners or have a detailed knowledge of the estate's inner workings. However, a source close to King Charles told Vanity Fair there seems to be quite a few disgruntled former staff members who are out to make trouble for the King's foundation. The King loves Highgrove and is very proud of everything he has created there. Coward. Charles, you're a coward. So now, there's no way you're telling me 8 gardeners had an interview with this journalist and they're saying how toxic you are, how it's so hard to work for you, you're a bully, and you want to tell me, oh, they're out here to ruin your foundation, to smear your foundation, they're out here to get you? 8! This man had 12 gardeners. 11 out of them have quit, including those who've worked for a very long time with him. So clearly, who's the problem? If you have 8 gardeners conduct an interview and say how you provided a toxic environment, how you are so difficult to work with, and you're out here saying they're out to get you, there's no way 8 people are going to lie. What do they gain by lying? And I'm sure they could have said worse, but the NDA is holding them back. So this man is just a coward. There's no sources. It's backing them and that King Charles. And it hurts his ego to be like, oh, no, they're out to get me. I mean, it's typical. I was not expecting him to respond directly. I thought they were just going to wait till it dies down. Like, that's the typical way these leftover royals act. Or they flood, like I mentioned, social media with articles about Harry and Meghan so that this story dies. It deflects from that. So I'm shocked that he even responded to it. So that means he's really, really pissed. He's pissed. It's like, why are you guys trying to take my image? I'm the good king. What is wrong with you? These people are out to get me, disgruntled. There's no way 8 people are going to do an interview and you tell me they are all lying or they're out to smear you. They just expose who you are and you hate that. That's exactly what it is. He hates that he was exposed. Anyway, I got like a few comments on that because this journalist just posted this like 5 minutes ago. And some of the comments are Ash says, replies to that journalist, at Gabriel, he's such a coward and a bully. Agree. And then Yael says, funny how when they respond, it's called a smear, but your reporting isn't to be questioned. Never mind who it might be smearing on behalf of. Hypocrisy is a curious thing, isn't it? It is. And then I Am Said says, we all know the source is the palace. We do. We be knowing. Mark says, and yet we're meant to worship him. Yeah. And then Coppel says, always the royals, every single time. It's always them, guys, always. Then Ash says, Gabriel, you should ask them when's the bullying investigation into the king is going to start, since they don't condone bullying within the workplace. Or was that just towards Meghan? Yeah, that's a very good question. So these are just few of the comments. I wanted you guys to know that Charles has reacted to that, and like, oh, they're out to get me, they're out to ruin me. It's like, that's not true. But he did not deny the fact that he told that man to never be brought in front of him, and he used them to be like staff for his mansions. So there's that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm Emerald. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next one.